Hi, this is Tony D'Amico, founder and managing partner of Fidado Wealth. Thanks for joining us today about the Davis-Bacon Act 401k plan for contractors and the webinar that we have for you today. So joining me is Brennan Thiergartner, a certified financial planner at Fidado Wealth, and I'll be introducing Brennan here in a minute. When we kick off the webinar, is he'll be reviewing some key components of the Davis-Bacon Act for 401k plans and how contractors can leverage that to have a better plan for their employees, save money on taxes, and overall create a win-win result. So, all right, so let's jump in. And before we kind of get started, just a couple housekeeping items. So one is our disclosures page, which we have up here for you. I guess the one thing I'll share with you is we obviously don't know the financial circumstances of your business, if this type of 401k plan would be beneficial. So obviously you shouldn't take this webinar as advice that you should implement without first consulting a financial advisor or conducting your own due diligence. And a little bit about Fidado Wealth before we get started. So we are a boutique wealth management firm based out of Cleveland, Ohio, and we have clients naturally in Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Florida, and several other states. We're an independent fee-based registered investment advisor, and we have a legal obligation to act as our client's fiduciary and put their best interests above all else. Being a fiduciary is a big part of one of our core values and really what we're really about. And a fiduciary is the highest level of accountability that the law defines, where you always have to do what's best for your client. And not all advisors are fiduciaries. And so we'll talk about that because some advisors are not, that don't take on any fiduciary responsibility when they're managing the 401k plan for the investment. So we'll talk about that as we proceed, because that's not common. So number three is we have over 98% client retention. So we're really proud of that. We work with some great high net worth families and business owners. And part of working with business owners is also helping them with their 401k plans for their companies. So we're really proud of our retention of clients and that we have families that we work with that covers 3 generations. One of the things that also makes us very unique is how we provide comprehensive and integrated wealth management. So again, we know it's important to provide high quality institutional investment management, which we do, but we also provide financial planning. But additionally, we also do other things that would be considered more of wealth management when there's some complexity. This has to do with things like tax mitigation, risk protection, estate planning, legal planning, trustee services, or other wealth planning to ensure that we're helping our clients achieve what is important to them. Being a boutique firm, we have a great team in place that we feel is very highly skilled to help our clients meet their objectives. And we have a lot of internal expertise, such as certified financial planners, certified public accountants, investment advisors, people that are specialized in insurance. We have several folks that have master's degrees in different areas, as you can see, even folks that have have a certification in advanced financial planning and compliance. And then externally, we work with some really top-notch specialists, such as tax advisory, again, estate planning, insurance specialists, a lot of specialists too geared towards business owners as well, such as group healthcare plan specialists, business insurance specialists, certified valuation analysts, third-party administrators for 401k plans as well, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Our mission at Fidado is to understand our clients deeply and understand really what's important to them, and then bring them clarity and strategy to create peace of mind for them. And everything that we do, it's about putting the client first. So we accomplish our mission by providing, number one is our goal is to provide deep expertise so we can deliver comprehensive wealth management, to know our clients really well and know what's important to them, and discipline. So that's important to follow through and deliver on our promises. So that's how we built our reputation over the past decade plus at Fidato Wealth and what we strive to do every day with our clients. At the completion of this webinar, some of you may have questions about how to take advantage of these provisions with 401ks, and we'd be happy to set up a complimentary consultation where you can ask those questions and entertain if this might be the right plan for you, or if there's a way to improve your existing contractors plan. That we see a lot of, that's a lot of what we do, is improving existing contractor plans. And we'll kind of show you why here. So at this point in time, I'll introduce Brennan Thiergartner. Again, he's a certified financial planner at Fidato Wealth. So Brennan, thanks for doing this webinar with me. And before we get started, do you want to maybe share maybe why this topic is, why you're passionate about the Davis-Bacon Act and how that impacts 401k plans?
Sure. Thanks, Tony. So it means a lot to me because I used to work in a landscape construction company, and I know that just from working there that the plan that we were in, I knew it was high fees, investments were not well managed, and it didn't seem like it was put together in a well-mannered way. And that was during college, going through the financial planning program and eventually coming to Fidato. I learned what a great 401k plan looks like. And seeing that from my history of being in a Davis Bacon plan, that I know that most of these plans can be really expensive and not well managed. So I wanted to put this together so that way we can help people in companies that don't exactly have a great plan and that we might be able to assist them in that. So for going through, I just wanted to give a brief overview of the Davis-Bacon Act and some of the requirements. So from the Department of Labor, the Davis-Bacon Act was passed to protect communities and workers from economic disruption caused by competition arising from non-local contractors coming into an area and obtaining federal construction contracts by underbidding local wages. Thanks. So the Davis-Bacon Act requires wages paid on federal public works projects equal to the wages paid in a project's locale on similar private construction jobs. The requirements are is that it requires payment of the local prevailing wages and fringe benefits to laborers and mechanics employed on government contracts. And this is in excess of $2,000 on those contracts. Prevailing wages are determined by the Department of Labor at the federal level, and there are 35 states who determine their own rates through their prevailing wage laws, which are commonly known as Little Davis-Bacon laws. So there's really two components to what makes up a prevailing wage, and those are the basic hourly wage and the fringe benefits. And a fringe benefit will be like life insurance, health insurance, pension, vacation time, holidays, and sick time. And this obligation can be met by any combination of cash wages or credible bona fide fringe benefits provided by the employer. And we got a little graphic here that shows basically what makes up the prevailing wage. So if the employer does not have like life insurance, health insurance to have as fringe benefits, there's two ways that it can be paid out. The first way is cash, and it can be paid out in full rate of cash or it can be partial. So these wages, when they're paid out in cash, puts the contractor at a competitive disadvantage because this increases the labor cost versus a contractor that decides to defer or provide fringe benefits to employees. So this incurs higher payroll taxes on the cash used to meet the fringe benefit requirement. So this can be up to 25% in additional payroll taxes that would otherwise not need to be paid. So this includes Social Security, Medicare, a Medicare surtax, federal unemployment tax, state unemployment tax, and workers' comp. Employers electing to defer the fringe benefits can save payroll taxes on those wages. So we're going to go through a little case study. So we have a union worker that is making $30.85 in an hourly rate wage. And we can see from the chart below that the total fringe benefits add up to $22.17 for a total prevailing wage of $53.02. If we have a non-union worker, they are going to be required to be paid the same amount as the union worker. The only difference is that for the $22.17 in fringe benefits, the employer gets a little bit of flexibility on how they want to pay that to the employer, right, to the employee. So they could either do again the uh, fringe benefits, the cash payments, or the deferment to a 401k. So if a local business owner has 20 employees, each working 1,000 hours on a Davis Bacon job, we're going to be having 20,000 hours times the fringe benefit rate, which is 22.17, for a total of $443,400. And we're going to assume that the cost of labor is 25%. This would mean that if the employer decided to pay cash to the employees on those fringe benefits, we would be looking about $110,850 in additional payroll taxes that would not otherwise need to be paid if that money was put towards a 401k or qualified plan. So it really gives the local business owner only two options. So they could increase the hourly wages by $22.17 to meet the prevailing wage requirement, or they could defer and make contributions to a qualified plan to meet that prevailing wage requirement. So the benefits of deferment using a qualified plan, we can look and see that we can avoid these taxes that go on our payroll. The Social Security on 6.2%, Medicare at 1.5, a Medicare surtax at 0.9, federal unemployment tax, state unemployment tax, and workers' comp. Now, workers' comp varies. We know it's expensive in the contractors industry, and it varies based off of class code and your EMR rating with the Bureau of Workers' Comp. But we know that it can be very expensive, especially adding on to the other items listed there.
Yeah, it's pretty significant tax savings, Brennan, of over $100,000 just by taking advantage of this feature, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of money to be paying that you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, cool. So I'll talk a little bit about how we approach Davis Bacon 401k plans because again, we've looked at other plans, other Davis Bacon 401k plans, and we really approach this in a much more, in a very different manner. So we'll kind of reference one case. We'll kind of keep one case in mind. Obviously, we'll kind of change the details. So it's a generic hypothetical case, but really in this one case, it was providing plan design to maximize tax efficiency. So this really came down to understanding what the goals of the company were and what the goals of the business owners are. So really that plan design is so important. How should the plan be structured? Is really critical, and that's what it's based upon. Again, the goals of the company and the business owners. We also provided fiduciary responsibility of investment management. So, many 401k plans, the advisor isn't taking on that fiduciary responsibility. They're leaving it for the employer, where they can provide general education around investments or general investment menus, but the employer is retaining that fiduciary responsibility of the investment management, which is a huge liability, right? So there's some 401k plans that are designed where the advisor that's managing the investments will be co-fiduciary with the employer. And then there's a very few, a lot less, where the advisory firm, so in our case, we take full fiduciary responsibility. So it's called the ERISA 338 is what it's referring to, where we take full fiduciary responsibility of the investment management. So we offload that fiduciary liability from the employer, and we take that on, and we're happy to. So we manage, several different 401k plans. And when we make it, we have that ongoing, we're reviewing the investments on an ongoing basis. We're monitoring performance compared to peers and other characteristics. And if we take an action for one of our 401k plans, it affects all of them, right? Because we only do 401k plans when we have that full fiduciary responsibility. So even for our firm, if we make a change, so we have a 401k for our employees. When we make a change, again, it affects even our 401k plan. So our 401k plan has the same investment options as the other 401k plans that we manage for other companies. So in our 401ks, we also offer institutional investments that are, very low cost. They're professionally managed, globally diversified. And as I already mentioned, we use the same funds for our employees and clients that we use for all 401k plans. So we do eat our own cooking. We do provide educational meetings for your employees. That's, really important. A lot of times when we come in, again, what we will see is that there isn't any fiduciary responsibility of investment management through the investment firm. We will sometimes we do see good investments. Sometimes we see investments that we think are below average, right? So really taking a look at the investments, and then overall the employee experience, right? So in today's job market, it's very important to take care of your employees. So providing them that educational meeting is really important to educate your employees. A lot of them will have questions. Is there, does your 401k have a Roth option, or is it just pre-tax? If you make the Roth option, being able to have conversations with your employees so they understand what the differences are, I think is really, really important and a nice touch. So additionally, the ease of use for the plan participants, your employees. So the way that we set up our 401ks is that an employee can pick their own options if they want. So we have a la carte option that they can select from, or we have different model portfolios based upon the level of risk that they want to take. So those portfolios, we manage those portfolios. We'll make adjustments to them. We rebalance them as well for the plan participants. So they're rebalanced on a regular ongoing basis. So again, that's something that we don't see often. We also offer, complete online access for visibility, and ease of viewing for the plan participants. Now these are one of the things that Brennan shared with me was just how he how before, when he had to pick out his own investment options, right? And you're a lot of times your employees, they're not educated on investments. They don't have the time to do that. Some do want to pick their own, so again, they can, but having model portfolios that are fully managed, fully diversified, low cost is a really nice touch for your employees. Reducing total plan costs is also very important. And Brennan, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I know that when I used to work at a landscape construction company and we had a Davis Bacon 401k, the fees and expenses on those funds and in the plan itself were very expensive. The average fund expense ratio was 0.28% versus Fidato's 0.2%. And you could be charged anywhere from, the employer could be charged anywhere from 1.5% to 3% of plan assets just for having the plan versus Fidato's 1.1%. So these fees are huge and they can eat away at employees' returns. And it's just having a plan with lower cost so that way the employees and can save more money, grow their money easier. It's just a good good all around scenario for all involved.
And Brennan, those fees that you're referencing, those were like all in fees. Those weren't just our fees, right? That was also the third
That's
party administrator, the record keeping,
that
custodian.
is all fees associated with the
Yeah,
401k.
yeah. So our fee is a portion of that, but yeah, we do see that quite often where some of these Davis Bacon plans can be, much higher cost. And so, I think, that's just really important for your employees. A lot of times when we put this in place, the feedback that we get is like, wow, okay, great. I'm getting education. I can pick a model portfolio. I don't have to worry about that. Wow, the fees are lower. It ends up being an incredible, our goal is to make that an incredible experience. So, but yeah, as Brendan was mentioning, those total fees are for many different parties. So the last thing that we provide, or one of the things that another important aspect of this is providing open architecture. So a lot of times what we find out is plans can be bundled where one entity is maybe providing the investments, doing the third party administration and record keeping, and maybe sometimes being the custodian. So, being a fiduciary, we want to open up the architecture. So, we're the registered investment advisor. We have that fiduciary duty to manage the investments, provide the education, continue to monitor the investments on an ongoing basis, and make any changes that are in your best interests, and those core functions that we mentioned. But some other aspects are the third party administrator. So we find it's best to have different entities, right? So we utilize a third party administrator that we've utilized for 12 plus years, where they also have this knowledge about Davis Bacon 401k plans. And so our job is really to quarterback this process and really understand the business owners, their goals, the company, their goals, and then loop in these other parties to provide the design. And we're part of all these meetings as well. So this is a coordinated effort. So third party administration is really important. Record keeping is also really important. Often those can be done by the same those can be done by the same entity. They can be separated, but typically we find it's best to have one entity that does the third party administration and record keeping. But again, it can be done either way. And then the other major entity is the custodian. That's who holds the funds. So we work with several different custodians. Schwab Institutional is a very widely known one, and one that we use. So in that sort of example, while we manage the investments, the assets are held at Schwab, and there's always a third party that holds those investments. So those are the common entities involved and what their major responsibilities are. And the other thing that we typically see is that because of this open architecture, and we try to use the best of the best for these other services, what we like to hear and our goal is like, we want to hear, wow, the third party administrator is awesome. Their service is responsive. They're providing clarity or guidance. And those are all very important things for business owners because time is scarce. So, as I mentioned, we quarterback the process and we assist you with selecting the right service providers based upon your goals and your desired outcomes. So yeah, I also too really enjoy working with these plans. It's great to see that impact and deliver that win-win, that win for the company, that win for the employees, and help them save for their future. That's really important. Well, we hope you found this webinar to be valuable. For those of you that may have more questions on the Davis Bacon Act 401k plans, perhaps improving your existing Davis Bacon Act 401k plan, or maybe implementing it for the first time, we'd love to set up a complimentary consultation with you. So we're happy to do so. A couple of different ways to do that. You can reach out to us via email at sayhello@fidatowealth.com. So Brennan and I typically work on these plans together. So you can see my email address there, tony@fidatowealth.com. My scheduling link as well, if you want to schedule an intro call. And then Brennan's email and scheduling link is also listed there as well. So you can press pause here to get that information if you'd like. And then really in concluding, just offering you some additional resources. Our website, fidatowealth.com. We have some great resources on that website, a great learning center. We have a YouTube channel, and we also have our webinars on our website as well. So again, thanks again for joining us on this webinar, and we hope you found this of value. Thanks, and have a great day.